PSG and Geek Vape. Is it the right choice? Let's get into it. Sports sponsorship has become a central component of modern sport marketing, enabling brands to build meaningful relationships with fans while generating essential revenue streams for teams and leagues. When strategically aligned, sponsorships can create brand awareness, enhance credibility, and create favorable attitudes among consumers by linking the sponsor to the emotional and symbolic value of the sport. However, sports sponsorship effectiveness depends heavily on perceived compatibility between the sport property and the sponsoring organization. When stakeholders perceive a misalignment in values, image, or social responsibility, the partnership may generate skepticism, ethical concern, and potential reputational damage rather than the intended positive outcomes. This agreement between sponsorship and between PSG and Geek Vape is part of Paris Saint-Germain's broader commercial strategy to expand global partnerships and engage new markets through branded collaborations. The sponsorship agreement between these two and between PSG and Geek Vape, who are a vaping brand, represents a controversial one in terms of alignment. While they do financially benefit from this partnership raises concerns about the compatibility of the organization's values, the social responsibility, and the long-term brand equity of PSG. This essay argues that PSG and Geek Vape is not a strong strategic or ethical fit because it conflicts with the health-oriented identity of sport, risks negative consumer perceptions, and aligns PSG with a controversial industry whose associations may damage the club's reputation over time. Sponsorship fit and image. When this connection exists, positive meanings transfer naturally. When it does not, consumers may question the authenticity of the partnership. Sports sponsorship is valuable to brands because sport commands deep fan loyalty, meaning audiences consistently devote attention to teams and events over long periods. Companies invest in partnerships to tap into this highly engaged fan base using a club's reach and global appeal to increase brand visibility and connect with targeted audiences. Perceived fit between sponsor and sport property is central to sponsorship effectiveness. When fans perceive a strong compatibility between a team and its sponsor, they are more likely to develop favorable attitudes toward both organizations and view the partnership as credible and authentic. This perceived alignment helps facilitate positive brand association, where the values and meanings associated with the sport entity enhance the sport sponsor's reputation. However, when the connection between sponsor and property appears weak or inconsistent, audiences may question the motives behind the partnership and respond with skepticism, reducing the effectiveness of the sponsorship. In the case of PSG and Geek Vape, the lack of a natural relationship between elite athletic performance and a vaping product creates this type of perceived incompatibility, making the partnership more difficult for fans to rationalize. It is crucial that brands should carefully research and whose clubs and audiences align with their own objectives before forming a partnership, ensuring mutual understanding and strategic compatibility. Successful sponsorships rely on this alignment because they aim to reach specific target groups, integrate the fan engagement, digital platforms, and long-term marketing strategies rather than functioning as isolated promotional deals. Sports health narrative. Sport organizations operate within a broader social narrative promoting physical activity, discipline, and well-being. Partnerships with industries linked to potential health risks can undermine that message. There has been growing concerns that industries associated with harmful consumption use sport to normalize their products and benefit from sports' positive image. Similarly, studies of gambling, alcohol, and fast food show that fans can recognize a contradiction between the healthy ideals of sport and the promotion of potentially harmful products. This contradiction is directly relevant to this vaping sponsorship. Even when legal, products remain socially debated and regulated in many markets due to concerns about youth uptake and long-term health implications. Aligning PSG with vaping brand risks appearing inconsistent with the sport's developmental and health-promoting role. Additionally, PSG has a massive brand that can influence a great number of people. Additionally, it must be mentioned that e-cigarettes are experiencing concerning trends, and this is important to note with the concept of sport being to promote health. Promoting e-cigarettes with how big of a team that PSG actually is on the global football stage can be detrimental, according to the World Health Organization's recent studies. Another critical issue is the influence sponsorship has on spectators, particularly younger fans. Experimental research demonstrates that exposure to sponsorship from from unhealthy product categories can shape brand awareness, attitudes, and preferences among young adults. In other words, sponsorship is not passive advertising. It actively shapes perception and consumer behavior. Sport provides sponsors with unique access to emotionally engaged audiences, making the messaging more powerful than traditional advertising. For PSG, whose global fan base includes millions of adolescents and young consumers, this raises ethical concerns about whether commercial gain should outweigh the responsibility attached to such influence. The reputational risk and long-term brand of PSG. From a strategic perspective, controversial sponsorships may provide short-term revenue, but threaten long-term brand equity. Research on controversial sports sponsorships show that fans evaluate partnerships not only on visibility, but also on moral appropriateness. When a sponsor is perceived as inconsistent with the values of a team or the spirit of the sport, this can negatively influence how supporters view both the sponsor and the club, weakening perceived benefits of the relationship. This suggests that ethical fit plays a crucial role in maintaining trust and authenticity in sponsor-team relationships, particularly for globally visible organizations. PSG is not a financially struggling club seeking survival funding. It is a globally recognized brand who is competing for prestige along the world's most valuable sport properties. Because PSG markets itself as a luxury, fashion-forward, and culturally influential brand and club, associating with a controversial consumer product may weaken rather than enhance that positioning. When sponsorship appears driven purely by revenue rather than shared meaning, fans may see the partnership as opportunistic rather than authentic, undermining the relational trust modern sport brands depend on. The commercial reality of modern sport. It is also important to acknowledge the opposing view. Elite sport is highly commercialized, and sponsorship revenue enables clubs to invest in talent, infrastructure, and global growth. Research shows that organizations often accept partnerships from controversial sectors because of the significant financial value attached to them. From this perspective, PSG's agreement with GeekVape can be understood as part of a broader commercialization trend in which sport properties leverage their global visibility to maximize income. However, financial logic does not guarantee strategic alignment. Sponsorship effectiveness depends not just on revenue, but on reinforcing the brand identity of the sport property, something this partnership struggles to achieve. In conclusion, the PSG and GeekVape sponsorship highlights the tension between commercialization and value alignment in modern sports marketing. Although the deal offers financial benefits and global exposure, research shows that effective sponsorship depends on clear fit and ethical consistency. Because vaping conflicts with sports health-oriented identity, the partnership risks negative fan perceptions and reduced authenticity. Thank you.